we're going to practice subtracting fractions. There is no whole number, but there are unlike denominators, okay? All right, I want you to go through and write down the answer to these on your paper, and I'm going to have you tell me the answers here in about 1 minute. So I'm going to pause it while you go through and write down the answers. Okay, boys and girls, you go ahead and tell me the answers. 1 minus 1/2.
1/2.
2 minus 1/2.
1/2.
3 minus 1/2. 7 minus 1/2.
6 1/2.
1 minus 1/3.
2/3.
You're very good at this. 1 minus 2/3.
1/3.
2 minus 2/3.
1 1/3. 1 1/3.
Good. 2 minus 1/3.
1 2/3.
1 2/3. 5 minus 1/4.
4 3/4.
4 3/4. 5 minus 3/4.
4 1/4.
Good. Let's take a look at the next page. It says, I'll say an addition or subtraction sentence, you say the answer. Go ahead and write the answers. And then yours is different. We have to decide if these are, whoops, never mind. We have to decide if they're true or false. So go ahead. Write down the answer real quick and you can tell me what they are. All right, let's go ahead. 3 7s plus 1 7.
4 7.
3 7s minus 1 7.
2 7.
3 7s plus 3 7s.
6 7.
3 7s minus 3 7s.
0 7.
Or just 0, right? And 4 7s minus 3 7s.
7 7.
Oh, that's supposed to be minus, I think. What is it? Did I write plus on yours?
No.
Okay. All right, so you tell me, is the first one true or false? Just tell me.
True.
Did you look at it? It's true? That's how you do that problem.
Oh.
That's false. Because 4/10, the 4's right, but what's wrong with the bottom number?
They changed the. You can't.
Yeah, you can't change your denominator. All right, what about the next one, true or false?
True.
True. It would be 8/8, wouldn't it? What about the next one, true or false?
False.
You can't add your denominators, can you? Okay, let's take a look at the application problem for today. It says Meredith went to the movies. She spent 2/5 of her money on a ticket and 3/7 of her money on popcorn. How much of her money did she spend? Extension. How much of her money is left? Okay, so the best way to do this, add them up and then subtract them from the whole. We don't know the whole yet, do we?
So we gotta add.
Okay, so we're going to add them up. Now, I'm going to draw a visual for you, okay? Because, I don't normally have those with black lines, do I? We don't know the total amount of money, do we? But we know that there's some left. Are you writing this? We know that she spent some of it on a ticket and some of it on popcorn, and there's some left. The question asks, how much did she spend? So we have 2 questions to answer. Why aren't you writing this down?
I just put T.
That's fine. Okay. Sorry you can't see my tape diagram very well. You want me to make it bigger? I think I can. I just can't remember where. Oh, right there. Okay. So Blair says add them up. So 2/5 plus 3/7. And how do I add this? What do I have to do? Hayden, what do I have to do when I add those two together?
You have to add 5 and 7.
No, I don't. I can't add 5 and 7. We just talked about that.
Oh, make like units.
Make like units. Awesome. I like the way you said that. So the strategy for making like units, now soon you'll be able to do this in your head. But for now, this is how we write it. So what's a common denominator for 5 and 7, do you think? You think it's 35?
Yes,
It is. We checked it in block 1. Remember how to check it? Do you remember how to check it, boys and girls? Skip count. Right. Least common multiple. If I skip count by 5s, the first number I come to that 7 divides into is 35. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Remind me what my strategy is. What goes here? What goes here? Okay, now what? Blair, tell me what to do next.
Now you're going to multiply 7 times.
So you're going to take the top and the bottom times 7 here in the first set of parentheses, okay? Hint, it's the other number, isn't it? So what's 2 times 7?
14.
14, okay? Then what do I take multiply by here? 5, the other number. So 3 times 5 is?
15.
So what do I have for an answer?
29.
So that answers my first question. She spent 29/35 of her money. How much money does she have left? How do we do that?
Minus
We have to know the whole. What's the whole?
35, 36.
You're right. 35/35 is the whole. So now how do I figure this out? Yep. So I'm going to do it right here. 35/35 minus 29/35. And how much money does she have left?
635.
6/35. So we have 2 answers. This is how much she has left. This is how much she spent. Okay? You'll probably run across problems like that on Zern. That problem right there could possibly be on your next test. One exactly like it. Okay, let's talk about today's lesson. So, this problem right here, there are several ways to solve it. Just talk at your table group about ways we solved it in the past. And I'm going to push pause while you do that. Take a look at the board. This is one way to solve it. We're not going to write that, but we learned that at the very beginning, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that is there. Those area models are there on your paper in case you wanted to try that. We're going to skip over to another way, okay? So if you'll turn the page and look at the next problem, it's the exact same problem. 1/3 minus 1/5. Okay? What's our new and improved way of solving that problem? Hayden, what's our new and improved way of solving that problem? 1/3 minus 1/5. Hint, there are parentheses.
Find the like unit.
Find the like units. And here's what my paper has, so you can look up here. So when I find the like units, I multiply 1/3 times 5, don't I? And this is how we write it. You can go ahead and write this.
Wow, I wonder what you multiply 1/5 by.
I know. So 1/3 you multiply times 5, correct? And 1/5, what do you multiply by? 3. It's not 3/3, it's just 3. Okay, so we have 1 times 3 and 1 times 5. Let's see. That should give us what? 5/15 minus 3/15? Yeah, yours is going to look different than mine because you're going to have 3 equal signs. I have pink rectangles instead.
Aww.
I know. The answer, boys and girls, what is it? What's the answer? 2/15. And that's the same thing we had on the last page. 2 different ways to solve the same problem, okay? One thing you have to remember is we're finding like units, and then we're going to be dealing with whole numbers on the next problem. So go down to problem 2. Are you ready? This is your quick little review of how to find like units. And we're subtracting. So what's the common denominator for 5 and 6? 30. We checked it in block 1 and it's true. Remind me how you check it. Least common multiple, you skip count, don't you? So the smallest number that they share would be your common denominator. Some of these we already have memorized. Okay, get this set up and write it down. You can look up and check yours with mine when you're done. Can you see the answer on my shirt?
Yeah. No.
Okay, so that's pretty simple, isn't it? You should be able to do that about as fast as I do it. Now, what you accidentally did, do you mind if I say it? Tucker, what did you accidentally do? He got 23, so what did he accidentally do?
He added.
He added, so you got to be careful. Watch your signs. We are so used to adding, aren't we?
Yeah.
We were adding for days and days. Okay, so how does this change when you got a problem that looks like this? There are actually 3 ways to solve this problem, and this is why I'm recording it for Channing. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, and you're not going to have a lot of room, but I need you to give yourself 3 columns to write these answers in, and you're going to have to write a little smaller, Tucker, okay? So, and if you have to use the back of something or the bottom of the next page, that's okay. Or use the edges. So 1 3/4 minus 3/5. Write that down 3 times. Now the reason I'm going to show you all 3 is so you can pick one that works best for you. Plus, you might see all 3 on Zerd, and if I don't show you, you won't understand what's going on. I'm going to save the first method for the last because I feel like it's the hardest to understand. So let's start with the way we're used to solving these. Okay? Remind me what we did last week on lesson 8, 9, and 10 with the whole numbers. What did we do with the whole numbers? We rearranged the numbers, didn't we? So I'm going to rearrange this a little bit, okay? I'm going to keep my 1 outside of the parentheses. And I'm going to find like units. Now, the thing is, I have to put a plus sign there. Because if I don't, then it means to multiply it times 1. And I don't want to multiply it times 1, okay? So you've got to make sure you add that in. So my common denominator for 4 and 5, what is it, boys and girls? 20. You should be writing this right along with me. And I'm going to remember to add my 1 into the end. Okay? So 3/4, 3/5, correct? Hayden, I'm just going to have you tell me what to write since you're not writing anything. You can tell me. 4 times what equals 20?
5.
Okay. And 5 times what equals 20?
4.
Okay, go ahead and write that down, Hayden.
Okay, hold on. I wrote something down.
Okay. So I've got 1 plus, what is 15 minus 12? 3/20. So could I just take that plus out? That's my answer, 1 3/20. Okay? And that to me is the easiest way to do it because it's the most like what we did when we added. Okay? Now Mia Singer's going to disagree with us because when she first learned how to do this, her teacher taught her a different way. So that's going to be method 3 that I'm going to teach you. Okay? So this way is going to need 3 equal signs also. Tucker, I appreciate the way you're writing and fitting all this in there. This way's different. Okay? Put your pencils down for just a minute because I've got some of you playing with them. Like right now. Thank you. Okay. The way Mia's teacher taught her in, where'd she move from? Missouri, was to make this first mixed number an improper fraction. So it would be 4/4 plus 3/4, because you kind of decompose it, right? So what would 4/4 plus 3/4 be? 7/4. Now the thing you have to remember when you use this method, if you change it to an improper fraction, you'll probably have to change it back to a mixed number to get your answer. Okay? So let's make 1 3/4, 7/4. Go ahead. And what are we going to subtract? 3/5. So set it up like that. Then we pretty much do the same thing. What's the common denominator? What's the common denominator? Ooh, that 20 looks like a 26, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so 4 times what equals 20?
5.
So what's 7 times 5? Okay. And 5 times what equals 20?
4.
So 3 times 4 equals,
12.
make sure you're writing it. That's like the 5th or 6th time I've had to talk to you. Okay, so 35 minus 12. 23. So the answer here is 23/20. Now, am I finished?
No.
Don't tell me I need to simplify it. That's not what I need to do. What do I need to do to this number?
Whole number.
It's got to make it a mixed number. It's a whole number. So this is how you see it on Zern. 20/20 plus 3/20 equals 1 3/20. What answer did we get in the middle column?
1 3.
Okay, so this is working out. 2 different ways to solve it. All right? Let's take a look at the first one. I need all of you to be finished writing before we do anything else. So make sure you're finished writing. Put your pencils down. This way is really thinking differently than what I'm used to, but it does make sense. Let's just say I want to add instead of subtract, which is what I'm going to end up doing here. Here's how I do it. Now, do you remember over here when we decomposed this and we made it 4, whoops, it wasn't there, was it? It was here. We made it 4/4 plus 3/4. And then that became 7/4 right here. Remember that? We're going to decompose this fraction. So start by drawing that. And I'm going to keep the 3/4, but I'm not going to make this 4/4. What other number could I make it? That would mean 1 whole. And I'm going to look at my 5/5. So this is pretty much what I have. 1 3/4 minus 3/5. Now, when I do this much right here, that's kind of a plus sign there, isn't it? 5/5 plus 3/4 equals 1 3/4, okay? So are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sure? How could I rearrange this? 5/5 minus 3/5 plus 3/4. Okay, write that down. 5/5 minus 3/5 plus 3/4. Okay, I know. But this is a good way, I mean, it's a good idea to think about this. So this is going to be 2/5 plus 3/4. I don't know about you, but I'm just about to run out of room. I'm going to have to write small. Okay, common denominator is the same thing again, isn't it? What was it? 20. But this time we're adding. Because we already subtracted. So 2 times 4 equals 8. Tucker's going to like this. 4 times 5, right? So what's 3 times 5?
15.
What's 8 plus 15?
23.
23 20ths. Now we all know what that turns out to be because we just did it over here, didn't we? What do we have?
1 3/20.
1 3/20. So that's 3 different ways to solve the same problem. Okay? Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to take the whole number out and then put it back in? This works most of the time. The middle way does. And it's easiest for us because that's what we did when we added mixed numbers, okay? This way right here, this third method, we might have to use now and then. This first method is a lot different, but you could run across it on third. Okay, let's do one more, and we probably won't get all 3 methods done, will we? So draw your lines. And you're going to rewrite your problem. Okay, the first thing we need to do is the middle one that makes the most sense to us, except we're out of time. So what I'll do